everybody, it's Emily at Dark Schooling, and today I'm going to be doing a bit of a discussion about books I want to read and trying some new Plum Deluxe tea. So I have been working on creating this catalog of my books. I have an app I use called Handy Library, and it does have a free version, but you have a limited number of bookshelves for that, and I opted to just do the paid version, which I think is like $6 for a year or something like that. I'll put that on the screen. But it gives you more shelves, basically. You could have like a more organized library system, which is what I wanted it for. So that's what I chose to do. And as I've been slowly working through my house, I'm realizing how many books I have purchased and not read. And the shame is a lot right now. I'm not going to give you guys exact numbers, but let's just say that I've maybe read a quarter of the books that I own, which how is that even possible? I read a lot. I read 100 books plus a year. How have I not caught up to my own library? I don't know. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is I've as I've been doing this, have been making a stack of, these are books that I've had for a really long time, and I keep saying I'm going to definitely read. I put it in a TBR more than one time and just haven't read. So these are books that I'm making them a priority. I will read these by the end of this year because I don't know why I haven't. And while we're discussing that, I also have 2 months worth of Plum Deluxe tea because I've had 0 time for any filming of any kind. So we're gonna see what I got. This is, what month is it? April? So this is March and April. I don't know which is which. Let me see if I can figure that out. Okay, this is the March one. So we're gonna open the tea first, and then once I've opened the tea and check that out, I'll go make some, and then from there we'll start talking about the books. So let me just pull out what came in the March bag. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a Plum Deluxe tea affiliate. I am obsessed with their tea. I wouldn't promote it if I wasn't really interested in drinking it, but I have a lot of Plum Deluxe tea. I have what you might consider a problem. So let's look and see what comes in the subscription. Each month you can get a subscription from them where you get the tea of the month. And they have an option for just the one tea, which is just the tea of the month, or 2 teas, which is what I get, which is the tea of the month plus another tea from their store. Each month you also get a sample because they always, no matter what you order, they throw in a sample, which is great because there's a lot of flavors that I'm interested in trying but not sure I want to buy a whole pack of, so getting a sample is great. It's a great way to try new tea. So the tea of the month in March was Peachy Berry Black Tea. Let's see, so this is black tea, green rubios, blueberries, raspberry leaves, peach pieces, rose hips, hibiscus, cranberries, blue cornflowers, peach and blueberry essence. Okay, let me smell it because maybe the berry isn't a very strong component to this tea. It sounds like something I would like. It actually smells really, really good. I love their peach tea. It's one of my absolute favorites, so even though the berry makes me concerned, I think I'm definitely going to try it, and I think I might actually like this. So that's the tea of the month from, ooh, I almost spilled it all over my floor. So that's the tea of the month from March. The other tea they sent me in this package is Housewarming Black Tea, which is one of my favorite teas, and I just finished mine. So that's great. So this is black tea, jasmine flowers, safflower, blue malva flowers, vanilla essence, love, and gratitude. Oh, I love this tea. Honestly, the majority of their teas are just phenomenal. And then the sample is another one I really like, Hope Blend Jasmine Green. I love their green teas. And this one happens to be one of my favorites. Hope Blend Jasmine is green tea, jasmine buds, blue cornflower, love, gratitude, and it has caffeine. So now let's move on to April. The April tea of the month actually sounds really interesting. Mango almond oolong tea. I really like oolong and I really like mango. Not sure about the almond, but this sounds really interesting. So it says oolong tea, black tea, mango pieces, calendula, mango almond essence. I'm gonna sniff this. This smells really interesting. I'm smelling a lot of almond, but I feel like almond extract is always like the strongest smell in any tea that has almond in it. But I'm really interested to see if I like this because I don't think I've had too many oolongs that have fruit in it. So I'm curious to see what I think of that. Then they sent me, again, I'm super hyped. I'm almost out of this. So they sent me Reading Nook Blend Black Tea as my second tea. This is a really nice tea. I like to mix this with other things too because it has a little bit of a floralness to it and it goes really nicely in other teas. So like I'll mix this with the housewarming because like black teas that are like more mild in flavor just go well together. So anyway, this is black tea, rosebuds, lavender, chamomile, love, and gratitude. And it's just a lovely tea. And then, the sample they sent in April is Full Body Reset Green Tea. And this is green tea, ginger root, lemon essence, safflower, calendula. Ooh, I want to try that. This sounds really, really refreshing. I love drinking green teas in the summer, like cold, because I think they just taste so nice. And they have some of the best green teas at Plum Deluxe. Like, so good. The It's Not Easy Being Green, I think is the name of it, is green tea with blueberry. That's delicious. I have a mango green that is really good. Like, all their green teas are great. Abundance Blend green tea is another one of my absolute favorites. So yeah, I'm excited to try that. So what shall I drink while we're doing this book chat? I have too many options now. This is why I shouldn't do that. I think I'm actually going to go with the first tea, the Peachy Berry Black, because I am really curious about this tea. And I hope it's good. I'm a little bit nervous about it because of the berry, but I'm hopeful. But I'm hopeful at the same time because everything else about it sounded really nice. So I'm going to go make some tea. I'm going to come back, sip some tea, and we're going to chat about this giant stack of books I've got in front of me. So stay tuned for that. I'm back with my tea in my cute little owl mug. My kids keep trying to name this. Sarah's called it Benjamin. Regina named it Frank Booten. I don't know why. I made the Peachy Berry Black Tea. I'm just going to give it a quick sip. I can kind of get a hint of the berry, but it's not overpowering, so I'm going to set my tea down. This is actually really yummy. And for once, I got a berry tea that I like. I'm hype. Okay, so the rest of this video is going to be me showing you my tower of shame, basically. These are books that I have talked about here on my channel, or that I've just like pulled off the shelf and stuck in a pile of things I'm going to read right now, and then for whatever reason didn't read. So this is me like scolding myself because I buy a lot of things. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books that are ebooks. I read a lot of things that I don't know. Stuff that I just buy new things and I don't read what's on my shelves. So let's just get started with it, shall we? The first book I have in this pile is All the Stars Denied by Guadalupe Garcia McCall. I got this when I was writing level 6, I believe, the update for level 6. So it's not one of the oldest. This is a book, however, that I just feel like I really need to read, that I don't know why I haven't picked up. Like I said, I had this in my pile when I was writing the level 6 update, so it's been about, maybe on my shelves for about a year and a half, 2 years. And I don't know why I haven't picked it up. This is a story that takes place during the Great Depression. So this takes place in Texas during the Dust Bowl, and it has to do with Mexican Americans being deported, basically, even though they were American citizens, because they were blamed for a lot of the problems that were happening during this time. And so I just think this sounds like a great read, an important one. And it's young adult, which is why it ended up not being in level 6, because it was just, I skimmed the first little bit and decided it was a little bit too mature for that age level, but I just really want to read it. So this is going to happen. Really, it will happen. Now I have The Hollow Girl by Hilary Monahan. This, I believe, is also a signed copy, right? Yes, I got this signed by Hilary when I met her at the Merrimack Valley Halloween Book Festival. I got this the first year we went, so this is probably 4 years old. And I just haven't picked it up. I don't know why. I know this book is going to be great. I'm like really excited to read it. This is horror. It's Romani. It's like a revenge story about a woman getting back at the men who attacked her friend. I just really want to read this. I just don't know why I haven't. Like, I don't know. But it sounds like a really great story. This next book I've talked about so many times on my channel. I don't know why. It's just not getting read. I've even had this in my TBR this month. And that is Starfish by Akemi Don Bowman. I wanted to read this month because the Buzzwordathon theme for the month is space words, and this has the word star in it. So I was like, perfect opportunity, Emily, to pick this up. But I just have not had time to read this month. So I haven't gotten to most of the things I put in my pile. But I really want to read this. This is a story about a girl who is half Japanese, half white, and being raised by her white mother, who is abusing her, I think, and trying to like force her to ignore or get rid of her Japaneseness, which I don't know if I'm explaining that right. It just sounds like a really interesting story. I've heard so many great things about this author, about this book in particular. This I haven't had a super long time. I'd say this has been on my shelf for about a year now. And I bought this like right after I read Lovely War because I wanted something similar to that. And I'm like, where can I find it? And this came up in that search. It's The Game of Love and Death by Martha Brockenbrough. And similar to Lovely War, which is narrated by the Greek pantheon, this is narrated by the gods of love and death. And they're orchestrating these two humans on Earth into this like love story, I think. And I love the interesting form of narration. I love when books do different things like that. And so I really want to read this. I even picked this up and started it back in December, and I just like could not get into it. I don't know. It was just a weird month, a weird time. I couldn't read like anything, but I really want to pick this up again because I feel like it's a book I'm definitely going to like. I just need to make myself read it. Yeah, I have a bookmark in here. I only made it 14 pages in. Let me take this bookmark out. This next book is the one that like inspired this whole video, because this is a book that I just have zero explanation as to why I haven't read it yet. And whenever I look at it on the shelf, I'm like, Emily, pick it up. Just read it. Read that now. And that is Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. It is one of the only Grady Hendrix books I own that I haven't read. The only other one I have but haven't like fully read is Paperbacks from Hell, which I have skimmed a bit. So I have read some of it. I just haven't read the whole thing cover to cover. But this, what is my excuse here? I bought this back in 2019. When we went to the last Merrimack Valley Halloween Book Festival, Grady Hendrix was there. I got it signed, personalized to me. It says, Emily, the set is complete. You own all the books. Now let the end times begin. So I need this. I want to read it before his new book comes out. So that is my goal. I'm going to try to read this like in the next month or so because I really, one, want to freaking read all the books, and two, I want to read this well before the new one comes out because then that one's going to take precedence. So this, for anyone who isn't sure what I'm holding here, this is a haunted house story, but instead of a house, it's an IKEA. And the quirkiness of this book is that it looks kind of like an IKEA catalog. Except it's not an IKEA. I don't know what they call it. But it's like an IKEA. Another book that fills me with shame because this is a book that I know I'm going to absolutely love. And that is As You Wish, Inconceivable Tales from the Making of the Princess Bride by Cary Elwes. I love Cary Elwes, first and foremost. He's one of my favorite actors. And I am obsessed with The Princess Bride. That has been my absolute favorite movie since I was a child. Like, it never gets old. I've seen it a million times, and I can see it a million more, and I will love it just as much. And so I need to read this. Like, I've had this on my shelf for I don't even know how long. When did I buy this? Yeah, this came out in 2014. I don't think I've had it that long. The paperback came out in 2016. So, you know, I probably bought this soon after the paperback was released. So this has been on my shelves for probably a minimum of 3 years, but probably more like 5 years. I don't know why I haven't read it. I'm gonna have to go look it up online and see if this is like, the audiobook is narrated by the author, because oh my god, if Cary Elwes reads this to me, that would be fantastic. I have Maud, which is a novel inspired by the life of Ella Montgomery by Melanie J. Fishbane. I have talked about this book on this channel at least 5 times. Like, I know I've talked about it a bunch of times. I don't know why I haven't read it. This is a gorgeous book cover. Every time I see this on my shelf, I'm like, ooh, I want to read this. And I just have not picked it up. I don't know why. I adore Ella Montgomery. I loved the Anne books growing up, and they're still some of my favorite literature. Anne Shirley is my very favorite character in all of literature, and I want to read this. I don't know what else I want to read it. I have My Plain Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brodie Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is the second book in the Lady Janie series. I have read the first one, My Lady Jane, which is about Lady Jane Grey, 90s Queen. I thought it was really cute and fun, and I decided I would definitely pick up the next book. So I bought this book. I bought the third book in the series. I think I've pre-ordered the first book in the new, I forget what it's called, Mary, I think, because there's a Mary, Queen of Scots book coming out in a couple of months. So, like, I keep buying the things, but I haven't read them. So I really want to read this. This is a Jane Eyre retelling, I think. Yeah. And I love Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre is one of my favorite pieces of literature. And so I really want to pick this up and just see what they did with it, because I just thought the whole concept of My Lady Jane was so much fun. Like, I get frustrated with historical fiction that isn't accurate but pretends to be, but I love when a piece of writing is like, this is silly, we know it's silly, now you know it's silly, just enjoy it. And that's what the series is. Okay, these next 2 books go together, and they are the ones that I think fill me with the absolute most shame in this pile, because this is an author that I've purported to love, and I haven't finished the series, which I also have purported to love. So, like, am I a liar? Maybe. I don't know. And that is the last 2 books in the Unwind dystology. This is Unsold, which is book 3, and Undivided, which is book 4. I started this. I got maybe a third of the way in. So I started this one and then just didn't finish it. Had other things I had to do and forgot I was reading this. And then I have this one that I haven't read at all. Why haven't I finished the series? I would put Unwind up there in like my top 10 of like great books that I've read, and I've never finished the series. And it fills me with shame, because like, why haven't I read this? I think that I'm gonna like it. Like, I want to know how it ends. I'm gonna take this bookmark out, because to be honest, I don't remember anything that was happening in this book. So doesn't matter that I made it a third of the way. I need to start over. I need to know what happened. I want to know if it's a satisfying conclusion or if it's going to leave me frustrated and wanting more. I think there's also, I own the short story collection that takes place within this universe, but I don't want to touch that because I haven't finished this yet and I don't want to be spoiled. So I'm sorry, Neil Shusterman, that I haven't finished the series. I'm going to do it. it's gonna happen. Because I also have like another 2 of his trilogies and a few standalones that I really want to get to, but I feel like I can't continue with his books until I read these. Next, I have The Year We Were Famous, based on the true story of young Clara Estby's walk across America by Carol Estby Dagg. I bought this 3 or 4 years ago because I had read another book by this author, Sweet Home Alaska, I think, and I really liked it. And then I saw she had this story based on her family, and it's a true story. And I believe this is written to young adult, but I might be wrong. But I'm pretty sure this is young adult. And it just sounded like such an interesting story. I like that it's based on her own family history. I just think this sounds great. This is about a woman who, facing foreclosure on their family home, they need to raise money and fast. So this is 1896, and they decide to do this like walk across America. And they have this whole plan. They're going to walk across America, and if they can do it in 7 months, then a publisher will give them $10,000, which would like save their family home. So that's what the story is about, and it just sounds like such a neat premise. I really want to read this. This has also found its way into my TBR, like on a monthly basis. I've talked about it a ton. I don't know why I haven't read it. And this is The Degenerates by J. Albert Mann. This is about a group of girls in the turn of the century, I think, that are in a institution in Massachusetts. And it's about like why they were institutionalized and like how they are dealing with that and their friendship and bond between this group of girls. And it just sounds like such an interesting story and something that I haven't seen a lot of, but I really want to read. And now the last book in this giant stack of things that I need to read is Philippa Gregory's The Last Tutor. Now, is this the only Philippa Gregory I need to read? No. I need to read a lot of those. I have several Philippa Gregorys that are not read yet, but this was the one that I was the most excited to pick up. And I haven't. This is a story about Lady Jane Grey, one of my favorite historical figures of the Tudor period, and she just was such a tragic figure, and I've just always been fascinated by her, and I really want to read this. So that's really all I know going in, is that this is about Lady Jane Grey and what happened to her, and I want to pick it up really bad. Alright, so, oh my god, I'm gonna hurt myself. Okay. So here are the 13 books that I talked about today. Okay, I'm going to put them down. Hold on. Whoa. So basically my plan here, guys, is that I'm going to read these 13 books over the course of this year. And I will update you when I've read them, because I have to read these. Like, I don't know why I haven't picked them up. I know I'm going to love all of them. I just need to make it happen. So that is my goal with this video, is to give myself this little bit of a shove to just read the things. One of my biggest goals for this year for my reading was to read my shelves, and so I need to prioritize that. This is a super long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you like what you see and you want to see more, please remember to subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye.